Yeah, because you're
saying,
like too
you're
reactionary
not
and
ready.
stupid.
Yeah, you're not ready. You're not ready, man. You're not ready for socialism. This shit would blow your fucking deck off. All right, you're not ready for this shit yet. For like the next 400 years.
Hi, welcome to our podcast, Barely Even Friends. It's me and Michael today. We'll be talking about our issues with the different various types of leftist ideology, ranging from social democracy, liberalism, Marxist-Leninism, anarchy. You know it, we have issues with it. Which one do you want to talk about first, Camel?
Oh boy,
Michael?
this is where I need a wheel to pick. Well, just a minute ago we were talking about social democracy.
Well, we could start with liberalism.
Okay. Well, like neoliberal,
like left-wing liberalism, I guess.
Okay.
And just move then just move further to the left each.
Okay.
Okay. You know.
Okay. That works
on the scale.
Yeah, but eventually we're gonna have to figure out which one's more left, anarchism or Marxist-Leninism. That's the real question.
It's anarchism.
Of course. This is why I don't like the whole left-right dichotomy, because it's totally bogus bullshit.
If you go by how much, it's about the left's more about maximizing freedom, and like the right is more about restrictions and hierarchy. Less about like freedoms and reduction of hierarchy and domination and exploitation.
Yeah. Okay, so liberals. My issue with liberals, I have many issues with liberals. They never have, like, okay, so let's say you just got fucking shot, okay? Their solution would be to hold your hand and put a fucking band-aid on you. Except the band-aid isn't even where you got shot at. So, you still end
You got
up
shot
dying.
in your stomach.
And they put a fucking band-aid on your fucking arm or something. I'll kiss it, make it better.
Oh, well,
kind of
they
shit.
shoot you. You get shot somewhere else. And you have a cut. They put a band-aid on your cut instead.
Yeah. It's like, dude.
From when you fell over.
Dude. I'm suffering from fucking alienation under capitalism. And your solution is to just throw money at me. I mean, thanks for the money, but come on, man. You know what I want to do? I want to work, right? I want to not have a fucking car. I don't want to have to pay for a fucking.
You want to be a productive member of society.
Yeah, I want to be. Issue number 1, personal responsibility. Okay, so they have a problem where they reduce all responsibility down to the individual, which is not how societies tend to work on the grand scale. Okay? Like, this doesn't... I'm just going to use their own fucking logic, their own meme against them.
How can you have personal... I was going to say, how can you have personal responsibility when, based on where you're born at, what zip code you're born at, decides your whole life?
Well, you see, it was your personal responsibility to be born there. You should have just rolled better stats, I guess. I don't fucking know. These people are dumb. Holy shit.
Like, hey, you were born in an area with shit schools, high poverty, but it's your responsibility to not become a drug addict, a drug dealer, and become a Harvard graduate with $100,000 in debt. Yeah.
And it's always very telling, because their method for becoming self-sufficient always includes being part of their system. And then you say, well, I don't like the system. And they're like, okay, go make your own. Where? Where would I make my own? In fucking Montana?
The thing is, like, what also too, any part of a liberal system, you already need to be a part of the majority group to have any benefits, really.
Yeah.
Because the system's in place to maintain the power of the majority, or like the most amount of people to maintain the power. So, like, common denominator, I guess, would be the correct phrase. So like you don't need an actual majority. You just need enough people to vote for you. So you put systems in place to benefit those people who support you.
Yeah.
And those tend to negatively affect those who don't, or who aren't a part of those groups.
Yeah.
That's why white people in our society have like high. There's high. Fun fact: there's about 10% of households in the U.S. are millionaires. 74% of the millionaires are white.
That's a strange coincidence.
Yeah, what a coinky dink.
Jesus.
The group that's had power founded the country the last 200 years
Yeah.
is the one with the highest levels of wealth and prosperity.
So, what's it called? Inheritance taxes. How high are those? Do those even exist? I'm sure a little bit.
For a couple years it was 0 actually, but normally it's around 50%. No, it's 50%. It's around 50%. Before there was a couple years where it was 0 during the Bush administration. I think Trump reduced them, but there's ways to get around inheritance taxes with trusts, gifts, that sort of stuff. There's people get paid to figure that shit out, so you don't have to pay inheritance tax.
Yeah. Ugh. And like if you have like, I don't know, $100 million that you're gonna give to your kid or something, then what?
You could spend like $20 million. You could spend a shit ton of money bribing some public officials to create more complex tax laws and loopholes to make sure you pay less money in taxes, increasing your wealth, because money just builds on itself.
Yeah, because if you have $100 million, or if you have $10 million, you can grow that into $50 million pretty easily. Compared to if you have $10, you could grow that into $50 pretty easily. But at the same time, if all you have is $10, you have other concerns.
No, not probably very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you have $100 million or $10 million, how much do you spend on food a day? What, like $50 at most?
You could spend a fucking grand, and then like you throw money in some random stuff like property, stocks, random shit you don't give a shit about, and one of them will work out, and you'll fucking double, triple your money, your investments. Money builds on itself. That's like the whole idea of like fucking capitalism. That's what generational wealth is about.
Yeah,
and that's why there's no generational wealth for like minority groups, especially Black people in America.
Yeah,
that's why
how they all started out.
With nothing.
Literally nothing. And then they get freed, and guess who gets paid
money?
But
they gave every single European group who came to America free land in the West.
That's fucked. Absolutely fucked. And then
yes.
Yeah, one of the best things that might have happened to Black people, okay, is at the end of World War I. I don't know if it was one of the best things, but it was at least theoretically a good thing. Is at the end of World War I, we started discovering a lot of oil, or in the early 20th century, I guess you could say, we started discovering a lot of oil, especially here in Oklahoma, and that's why Black Wall Street became a thing, was because Black people came back from World War I. These veterans would come back, and then they'd go, "Hey, I'm gonna get into the oil industry with all this money I made being a soldier." It probably wasn't that much money, but it was probably just barely enough to scrape by, and then start up a little business doing some oil, and they probably work together, because that's cool. And yeah.
Then so white supremacists went and burned that shit down.
Yep. What a strange coinky-dink.
Strange indeed. But yeah, liberalism needs believes in capitalism. Capitalism is inherently racist. Needs and establishes extra hierarchies and oppression. And you can never have an equal society as long as capitalism exists.
Yeah. It is granted a little bit more. So
you want to go to social
equal.
Democracy next?
Yeah. I mean, for all of its fucking stupid shit, capitalism is still a little bit better. Still a little bit better than feudalism. But okay.
They're not mutually exclusive, to be honest. You can have both.
Yeah, because remember, capitalism grew within feudalism.
We could actually do a whole episode how America's turning into a. We could do a whole episode of how America's turning into a feudalist society again.
Oh yeah, and just a quick little aside about that. Like kind of like Netflix. You have to pay rent for your TV, okay? But you know, like originally you would just have to pay for what? Your cable, and then you'd have all this television to watch, right?
Yeah.
Well, now people want to do
they had regular
to
TV that was free.
do what?
Remember, originally TV was free, then they added cable stations.
Yeah, it's fucked. And then now they want to make you pay fucking rent, basically. Subscription fees, but it's still rent to have little features in your car. Eventually, they're probably gonna want you to fucking pay subscription fees just to turn the damn car on.
Tesla makes people pay subscription fee. Well, so if you buy a used Tesla and the person got the autopilot feature and like some other features, and they sell it to you, Tesla will turn that shit off if you bought that car used.
Yeah, it's a bit fucked, isn't it? Great solution.
You think they would have ownership rights? Yeah. Yeah, the whole concept of ownership is disappearing in our liberal capitalist society, kind of based, but it fucking sucks because we don't own, like, those concepts will eventually get destroyed.
Yeah. Maybe this is one of those things that Nawada would be really, like, about.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so, social democracy.
Alright, let's talk about social democracy. You want to explain what it is?
Oh, God. So, basically, you know how capitalism kind of sucks? Well, what if we just had some, like, really, really based, like, social programs? And then started doing some, like, co-ops, maybe, and some, like, government...
some worker co-ops?
Yeah, a couple worker co-ops here and there. Maybe a lot.
Unions.
Some unions, yeah. But ultimately, where does all that wealth come from? Okay, I'm sure some of it is generated by the workers themselves.
Profit.
Yeah. But what is it? Oh. You go to somewhere like, well, I don't know, Africa or India or I don't know, one of those places where they don't have an army that can like stand up to the US. And you take your company over there and you just exploit them. Now, under socialism itself, this would probably never happen. In fact, it wouldn't make any sense for it to happen. You know. So, imperialism happens because a capitalist firm would want to increase its profit. So it fires its workers, closes down its American plants or whatever, ships them all off over to like India or something. I think Britain was doing this.
Cameron, we're talking about social democracy. America's not a social democracy.
Okay, but what I'm talking about is the social democracy would still be amenable to imperialism.
That's something that does happen in social democracies, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't change the issue where the worker doesn't own the means of production. Because if the worker owns the means of production, imperialism ceases to happen. Okay.
You have to change the nature of you have to change the nature of private property to actually have true change in a society. Yeah. Because like as long as private property exists, you will inadvertently return to capital. Capitalism, to be honest.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how nice.
Either way, because in social democracies, your reforms.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say in social democracy, it doesn't matter how strong your reforms are; they can be taken away if things get hard. Because you had social democracy in Germany before the Nazis, and all that shit was taken away and made everyone's lives worse with with fascism. Because social democracy, the only way social democracy works is through. So they use capital and profits to fund the socialism and social democracy. If profits and capital start failing, they start cutting those programs. And if they start reducing profits, they start looking elsewhere to achieve reductions in costs and labor. And that's when they start looking abroad for cheaper resources and more people to exploit, since they can no longer exploit the people at home as much.
Yep, and that's where they do the imperialism. So,
Yes.
ultimately, still liberalism. Just with a happy face sticker just stuck on it. Waving a little tiny red flag, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little too cynical. I don't know. What do you think?
So the issue within America is like a lot of people associate socialism with social democracy, which in fact was the case like 100 years ago, because social democracy started out as a Marxist party with the aim to achieve socialism. You have Bernstein, one of the social democracy theorists, talking about how social democracy will transform into socialism through reformism.
Yeah.
And that turns out wasn't the case, because it ended up with fascism and social democracy just as regular capitalism being supported by imperialism in the third world and developed nations.
You have to.
Hey, maybe social democracy will turn into fucking socialism. It's been maybe like 70 years from now.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Like, you have to
but
change
it seems like
relations.
What's more likely the case is people just get used to,
Gotta do it. Because
all of it is taking a little bit of profits.
Yeah. Where if you change the relations between people, then you get cool things like socialism. You know, since socialism would be defined as the state in which the workers own the means of production, and yada yada. That would be a change in the relations between the workers and the capitalists. Right? I mean, I don't know. It's just like for instance, anarchists. I've never heard a particularly good, but I've never heard very many good plans on how to get to socialism. Like, how do we get there? The Social Democrats, they've got.
So that's going to segue into our next clip. Yeah. Then we can segue into the democratic socialists as well now. Then because it's sort of the same approach as the social democracy on how to achieve socialism.
Except it's a little bit more based. Just a little. It's at least a little bit more based.
A little bit more, yeah.
So democratic socialists, quite based. My favorite democratic socialist was Salvador Allende. The first Marxist ever elected as president in a Western nation.
Yeah. Today's the day he got cooed.
Yeah. Today is also Bashar al-Assad's birthday. Bashar al-Assad's birthday. What? Did I just say it again? I'm sorry. My brain's going. Bashar al-Assad's birthday. What? I mean, but...
Yeah, fuck that guy.
But despite that, happy birthday to the Lion of Damascus.
Yeah, no, fuck. That guy.
So, social Democrats don't actually have I've never heard them give a good path to get to socialism. But democratic socialists have much the same.
Well, they don't even want to end capitalism anymore.
Yeah. Whereas Demsocs, on the other hand, which I hate all these words, by the way. We should just call sock dems. We should just call them radlibs.
Pretty much. Well, so pretty much the Marxist-Leninists and Marxists fucking call all the Demsocs and anarchists utopian socialists.
Well, wasn't Lenin part of a democratic socialist party?
He was part of the Social Democrats.
Yeah, where they would literally try to get
into socialism.
Yeah, they would try to do like electoralism and stuff in the Russian Empire, and then they would get banned and they would have to go underground and
the social.
Like there were many times
all the communist parties are based on the social democratic parties.
Yeah. So I would say that democratic socialists are pretty good. In America, I don't know, because they always turn to we should vote for Biden. It's like, no, fucking make your own, like, presidential candidate. Put them up there. Fucking.
They tried that like 100 years ago.
Yeah, I don't care. They should keep trying it. It's the only way that's going to actually.
Well, the good thing is,
well, they won. Left.
They control the Nevada Democratic Party at the moment. That's pretty based, except for when the Democrats stole all the money from them before they took over. And that's one of the reasons why democratic socialism has issues, especially in America, is because there's a lot of access to sabotage by the bourgeoisie and capitalists and its supporters.
Because the Democrats are fucking rats.
Yeah. Then
them are rats.
You have other countries where the CIA will fucking coup you if you get elected. You get couped when you try to do the democratic socialist way. Yeah, usually democratic socialism involves changing the country's constitution, different forms of redistributions, the change of like property, like how property's handled, and it's usually like social democracy, but more based, because they change the way the nature of the state and more or less try to. So we'll get to the other ideologies, but the democratic socialists want to maintain democracy and spread and throughout all parts of the society, more or less. They want to maintain all aspects of democracy, more or less, and use democracy to achieve their goals. Like,
as opposed to having a revolution.
Anarchists have criticisms about MLs, and Marxists, who want to use the state to achieve socialism through authoritarian means. Democratic socialism wants to achieve socialism through democratic means. So you're using the same means to reach your goals, basically.
Yeah. But see, I still wouldn't necessarily even say that MLs would, in and of themselves, want to just repeat what happened in the Soviet Union. Or what happened in Russia.
It depends. A lot of them, there's actually ML parties all over the world now.
Yeah.
Like, that are actually running for stuff and like have won elections in places like India. And fun fact, Nepal is run by communists. And in their constitution, they're a democratic socialist society. They're trying to transform their feudalist society, semi-feudal, semi-capitalist society into a socialist society. They overthrew their monarch a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty based. Didn't they have Maoists or something?
Yeah, it was the Maoists. So the Maoists, Marxists.
Awesome.
Yeah, the Maoists made a constitution with the liberals to turn the society into a democratic socialist eventually.
That's pretty
and they currently are governed by the Communist Party. Yeah, because they actually won the election. So they used revolution to achieve democracy and then proceeded to win in elections.
That's pretty good. So, yeah, I do like that, but I still feel like just trying to straight up just democracy your way into socialism, like through liberal democracy, I don't think it's ever gonna stick. Because the bourgeoisie is just
because there's still
it catches on
reformations and revolutions still there.
Yeah. So you would still need a revolution.
Yeah. They'll find ways to undermine your system.
Yeah. Whether it's through the CIA or just I don't know, the
funding
CIA,
the Taliban.
Funding the Taliban, or just doing whatever,
Yeah. Okay. You want to shoot? Well, what do you consider Marxist socialists on the spectrum?
What, you mean Marxist-Leninists?
No, market socialists.
Oh God. Well,
because I think
a market
the next step would be Marxist.
You could be a social democrat and be a market socialist. Well, no. Sorry, you could be a democratic socialist and be a market socialist.
No, democratic socialist. You also have the libertarian socialists.
Yeah, who would be we could have markets, and then you could have people like Vosh, who just arrives independently at socialism with Chinese characteristics.
Chinese. A lot of MLs, a couple of MLs I've talked to, they're willing to have markets on like small like industries and like with cooperatives, and like everything has to be nationalized.
Yeah, I'm kind of willing to have markets, just a little bit, but like the really important shit has got to be,
That's
state
at-
controlled or
that's
something, or community controlled or whatever.
the whole issue. Like, do you go with like central planning, decentral planning? Yeah, yeah. You have like democratically planned. Then you have like markets. Markets are clearly failing at the moment with COVID. They handle that crisis poorly.
Yeah.
And markets really don't work. There's like markets are kind of shit.
Yeah.
And we'll get to central planning with like the other ones, but like there's decentral planning where you could either use like councils of like workers, consumers, and they decide how much they produce, and then like or you have like democratically, like, so people vote on how much their community produces, that as well.
Yeah.
More or less, or like the work. Like, everything's currently actually centrally planned, because if most things are fucking monopolies in America, and all companies fucking plan shit months in advance, because they like to have things. So America has like still the lean manufacturing from Japan, where everything has to be on time, dead set, so there's no wasted space. All planning has to be just perfectly. If things are off by a couple minutes, it fucks up everything though. So they have everything planned out months in ahead, everything ordered, what they're going to produce, how much they're going to produce, and like where they're buying things from. The whole economy is basically planned ahead of time based on data. It's by several different companies.
Yeah,
like, fucking, if you ever work anywhere and like the management, and the management or whatever, you find out how much actually everything's really planned. There's functionally markets are worthless. Besides where you need to buy your more or less the markets only exist when where you're buying the natural resources, where prices will change. Like, you have inflation and stuff, and that's where our inflation issues come from. The labor, like lumber shortages and stuff.
Yeah. See, I've experienced shit like that. Like, I don't know, when I worked at factory back in like 2014, 2015, everything was very like, we have to make this many rolls a day. We gotta, and if we can make more, great. And if you make that many, then you're expected to make this many more rolls, tomorrow or whatever.
Quotas.
Yeah. Quotas! Fucking quotas! Capitalists complain about fucking quotas in the Soviet Union, but then they institute quotas on their own fucking workers. It's funny.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of planning throughout the capitalist economy, which more or less could be done more democratically. And there's a shit ton of waste with markets. So like fucking idiot ANCAPs are like, what about the NEP or whatever? Like the economic problem. Like, the economic problem is not even an issue. The fucking markets aren't even good at maintaining. They're neither efficient or good at maintaining production. There's fucking anarchy in the production, because you'll either produce way too much, way too little. The factories won't be going on for months or days at a time. They're horribly inefficient. You throw away massive amounts of food and electronics. How is that efficient at all?
Yeah. It's not. So you know more about that side of shit than I do. But I can say that if it was done democratically, then even if it was wasteful, at least it'd be done democratically.
They wouldn't just fucking throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
Like,
plus, chances are it would be less wasteful, because people have a stigma against wasting shit.
Yeah, so during the COVID pandemic, like lockdowns, the fucking farms and stuff were just throwing away massive amounts of food, milk, like vegetables and shit they couldn't sell.
Yeah, when I told my dad about this, he was like, "What the fuck?" And he's like a boomer liberal dad, conservative dad, He's like, what? Why would they do that? I'm like,
Oh, fun
because they're not
fact,
going to make money off
grocery
of it
stores.
anyways.
Exactly. They're like, because if they flood the market, it's going to lower the price and make it unprofitable for them. So it's cheaper for them to. It's better business for them to throw it away than sell it at a discount. Fun fact:
Yeah.
grocery stores will pour
Oh yes, I know. I was
bleach on their
telling my
food,
girlfriend
so
about
homeless
this.
people can't eat it in the trash.
Yeah, I was telling my girlfriend about this, and she was like, "But like, why?" I'm like,
They don't want people eating out of the trash for free. Like,
yeah, they
yeah.
don't want people.
Anyways,
eating out
that's
trash.
markets for you.
Yeah, good old markets. Oh, it's fucking disgusting.
Do you want to talk about communism, anarchism, and the ways to achieve? Well, do you want to talk about communism and the different ways to achieve it? That sort of way?
Yeah, let's do that. That seems pretty cool.
Because that's the next step in socialism. Yeah, you have libertarian socialism, which is just anarchy.
Yeah.
With maybe some markets.
Yeah. I would say early stages, yeah, okay, fine, have a couple markets. I don't really give a shit. But there's always got to be that thing where you're trying to get onto, like, labor vouchers, which isn't money.
Labor vouchers are stupid. You should just make shit free.
Well, yeah, but, like, there would be different phases, right? Because, yes, you can make shit free. And I would say that a lot of stuff could be free, like food and shit like that. Okay? But you would still have, like, labor vouchers
but the
for
fancy
things like...
luxury goods need to have money.
Well, I would say labor vouchers for things like fancier luxury goods. Like computers and cars. You know, and airplanes. Because it's my personal opinion that every person should at least be able to somehow own a vehicle. Now, I'm going to say that most of the times I would prefer to physically construct cities in such a way that you don't need a vehicle to get around. And I would... have you ever heard of library socialism?
No.
Okay, so imagine that you want to go out on a boat. And you just want to enjoy the lake or something. Now, I know you live in a desert, but here in Oklahoma, we have these things. They're called bodies of water, and they have lakes, okay? Big ones are called lakes, small ones are
we
like
have man-made lakes that destroy the environment here. Yeah, people release their turtles into them.
Fuck. God damn it. So, here in Oklahoma, we have these things, they're called lakes. And, anyways. So, the idea would be, you go down kind of near a lake, within a few miles of it, and you go to this, it's a library. Except at this library, because it's near a lake, they also have boats there. And this may sound fucking insane, but it makes perfect sense. Libraries already have the systems for doing library stuff where you borrow shit. Right? So,
yeah.
You go down to the library, and because this library is in this area, it has boats. Or maybe, and like kites and like fishing stuff. You know? Now, you could already have your own fishing gear. That is totally conceivable and probably perfectly fine. I don't really give a shit. But, boats... You could conceivably have your own boat, but it's just, it feels like it's a lot of work to keep up with if you're just one person. So, you might not.
There's a joke called, about boats, about another 1,000. You have to keep putting money in to maintain it. So there's a joke about boats called about another 1,000. Because you have to put so much money into maintaining it.
Yeah, about another 1,000. Oh! About a boat, another 1,000? What? Is that what that is?
About, because BOAT, yeah, about another 1,000.
Nice. So,
boat.
And this is true. My dad has spent so much fucking money on his boat. He's getting retirement. That's where he's drawing his money from. It's a fucking retirement fund. He gets like $600 a month or some shit. But at the same time, he only pays for like water, gas, and electric. So, and they don't use that much. Well, actually, he might make a little bit more than that, but he doesn't make that much money at all. Whereas he used to be bringing home like $4,000 a fucking month, like 2 years ago. Yeah, no, not the case anymore. And he's got a boat, so he saves up for a few months, and then he'll work on his boat. And then we'll go out, and I'll fucking drop the boat and break it. Which is a funny story. But, anyways, point is, you might not need a boat. Like, personally. You need to have a boat on your, at your house. So you go to this little library, and you get and you bring your community library card or something. And you just be like, hey, can I borrow a boat? And they're like, yes. Scan your library card. And we'll go scan the boat. And you go out back the library, and you get the boat. You hitch it to your truck. Maybe you borrowed a truck from the city. From like a city library or something. And you just... Hi, my own republic. And you go in, and you just take the boat to the lake, and you go fishing, or just go out to do jet ski stuff. I don't fucking know. Or go, I don't know what you do on a boat. Just go on a boat and enjoy boat stuff.
Fishing?
Yeah, fishing or whatever. Just, maybe you just, I don't know, hang out with your loved ones, drink some beer, listen to some country music. Except it's socialism, so it's fucking based as hell. And that's like the idea of library socialism. Where it's not like the whole system, it's just like a specific part of it.
More or less everything is rental and you give it back when you're done with it? No, it's rental as in free.
Well, kind of. Like certain things...
Like a library, you borrow it and you just give it back when you're done using it.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still have you don't... Okay, so a car, you could conceivably just own a car, and you wouldn't need to rent one. But maybe you don't need a car. Except in very specific circumstances.
Because other people could be using that car while you don't need it.
Exactly. So, this is why I would structure cities in such a way that you don't necessarily need a car to get around. In fact, it might be more efficient to just not have a car.
You use
that
buses,
way,
trains.
Yeah, use buses and trains and bikes and shit like that, just to get around.
Like a walk home.
Yeah. So, that would free up cars for places where we need cars. And, that way, whenever you need to, move, and you need to bring your belongings from one house to another house, or whatever, you just go borrow a fucking truck. You could have specifically, co-ops designed for moving. You go there, you borrow a truck, and you use that truck to move your shit, and you bring the truck back, and maybe they'll take you to your house, or whatever, I don't know. And, maybe...
No, but you have to pay money. They're
Do
called
what?
U-Hauls.
Yeah, like a fucking U-Haul co-op or something. Well, we're talking about,
Moving company co-op?
ways you could get to
talking about our
socialism.
criticisms about the different forms of socialism, but Camel got distracted with libraries.
Yeah, sorry, I just think it's
Socialism.
fucking cool. But what I'm saying is, you could have stuff kind of like that now. So one of the ways, I don't have a totally coherent strategy, but it would involve dual power structures. So you would build these neighborhood kind of assemblies, these popular assemblies. And these popular assemblies would be some of them would be, they would all be kind of neighborhood area things. So everyone in the neighborhood can go to the popular assembly and talk and debate and vote on stuff. And this would be a good bit of infrastructure for further networking, because then people could get there and talk about, we want to build a credit union, and then everyone builds a fucking credit union. just like how they do now, except now they have somewhere where they can just meet and talk about it. And you can do this in capitalism.
I don't even know what that shit means, dude.
It's
I'm
alright. You'll be able to
way.
shower, man.
So you wake up, Zesta, and you go, like, you just go down the street, like, I don't know, a couple blocks, and there's a fucking building there. It's not a house, but it's like near your house, you know, or your apartment or whatever. And you go in, and there's all your neighbors and some people that are a little bit too far to be considered really your
Having
neighbors,
an orgy.
but you've probably seen them. Yeah, having an orgy, and by an orgy, I really just mean they're like having a debate on like, oh, how are we going to fix the infrastructure? Right? It's like a town hall, but radical kind of fucking direct democracy shit. You know?
You want a more or less council sort of deal?
Yeah. And then you could do this same exact thing for workplaces. I can't think of a proper word for it. I guess it could be like a worker council. I don't know if anyone's ever tried that before. A Soviet. That's a good word. I like the ring of that. I don't know why. So you could have these Soviets establish, and they could be like neighborhood assemblies, but for jobs instead of neighborhoods, right?
All right.
That would be pretty based.
Yeah.
And I think
so. Camel,
that
what's your issue with the system then?
You literally reinvented.
Do what?
You reinvented the Soviet.
Modern Republic? What?
Oh,
I know. I was intentionally doing that
the
because
Soviets,
I thought it was funny.
Basically.
You know, but ironic. So, what's up about the system?
Oh yeah. So we're talking about why we hated stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we're gonna talk about. Okay, you want to talk about communism now?
Like
Communism itself, the concept, and like the
Oh god. Oh
end
man,
goal,
I can't
then
see.
the different ways to achieve communism.
Oh, okay. So, but yeah, I mean, so communism, I don't even know what that would look like. But to get socialism, you would need to fundamentally change your relationship between...
Okay, we're talking about communism now, Camel.
I know, but we want to get to communism, right?
You have to go from some... Yeah.
This is a dialectical process. You have to start at the beginning, and then you got to go to the next
Anarchists
bit.
think you can go from communism... You can skip...
Okay, those anarchists, they are dumb. They have good heart, but they are dumb. I'm sorry. Okay? Even Bookchin was like, yeah, no, that's stupid. Because, guess what? You eliminate private property. Cool. Then that means that you are forced to collectively own the means of production if you're a worker. That also means that now the bourgeoisie is not in power anymore. They could still go to like some other country and fuck around and try to CIA you, but
You still haven't said what communism is yet, Camel.
Okay, I know. Hold on. I'm building it up. I'm building the groundwork, as all good socialists must do. So, you have all these little things where it's like worker councils, neighborhood assemblies, and I'm sure plenty of other shit, all working together, and eventually they build socialism, right? Workers now own the means of production, and you have democracy extended to every. You have democracy extended from not just the political, but also to the economic spheres of human life, right? And to get to communism, I'm not sure.
Okay, just say what communism is then.
So communism would just be like beyond. It'd be like that, but to its logical extent, where now you don't even have classes anymore. You know, you don't even have a state because it's not really a state if it's just everyone working together.
Or ethnic identities and nationalities.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I don't know.
Have you not read The Principles of Communism, Camel?
I don't know.
Engels literally says national identity and stuff will disappear from all the borders removing because people will start race mixing.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. That bit doesn't really matter to me because ultimately, I think that the only manner in which nationality is really going to change is that people are going to realize that over time, this is going to be the better way. The socialism stuff, it's and the socialism stuff really is the bee's knees, because, well, they're going to realize that the economy is still
pretty
going
much communism
global.
is a classless. Yeah, so communism is a classless, stateless money society, and it's global in nature. Because you can't have communism without like the whole world basically being communist.
Yeah.
So you more or less will have a gift economy. So you remove markets, money, and everything will be free because everyone will be. So everyone has to work and participate in society to get their needs met.
Yeah. The one caveat to
That's
that
the
is,
higher
of course,
stage of socialism, according to Marx.
Yeah. The caveat to that, of course, would be we would probably reduce the working day to the bare fucking minimum necessary.
We'd also
Probably
have a lot
30
more
minutes.
resources to fully automate the economy as well, making more and more jobs.
So the work that people are going to do,
more free time and more freedom in general.
Yeah. So what you're going to have is a highly skilled workforce.
There wouldn't be like random bullshit jobs. All the jobs would be very necessary for society.
Yeah.
And make people feel fulfilled about their role in society and their lives.
Yeah, because they're not just working because they have to, because they're going to be working at somewhere that they want to. And it's not even going to be work at that point. It's going to be more like
and there wouldn't be even alienation from their work because they'd actually see the effects of
because now you only need like
in general, and they'll know they're helping people out.
You might need like 2% of the fucking work hours compared to
extended for most people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the horrors.
Vesda, you showed up late for this.
Aren't you a
We're
sock
explaining
then?
why we hate everyone.
I haven't even.
Okay,
I'm the only one that bitched about anarchists that much.
Because we haven't even got to the anarchist part yet. So
I'm literally shaking my boots now.
Okay, there's different ways to achieve communism. You have the anarchists, and then you have the Marxists.
Yeah. But
those are the two main branches of
achieving
communism.
Don't forget. Papa Kropotkin did warn us. There ain't never gonna be no fucking one-day revolution. And my favorite bit about the Conquest of Bread is that he was outlining we could literally have communism right now in Paris or in France or something. You know?
Yeah, it was like the 1800s. He's like, everyone just needs to work together.
Yeah, we just work together, and it'll literally be fine. And that's pretty good. That's
more or less
what got
you have.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you have the anarchists who either want to use syndicalism, where they have massive labor union. They use organization and syndicates and labor unions to more or less seize the means of production, and you have the syndicates replace the government and then achieve communism through syndication and like have a gift economy, or they want to go straight to communism where they remove money and like most aspects of the market, remove the market, become a gift economy. You have some communist anarchist areas that had gift economies, like Ukraine, North and Korea for a little bit, Manchuria, Korea, under before the Japanese, where they had gift economies and they were socialists, like legitimate, like socialists, abolished from the private property, had commune councils. They still had a state, so it was mostly communist. But they usually ended up being destroyed by outside forces. That's usually anarchism. They usually fail a lot.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the time.
Well, imagine how many bourgeois enterprises got fucking destroyed by feudal lords in their time. You know, just think about it. Because what the bourgeois were doing was they were basically stealing peasants, I think, and they're turning them into.
No, what happened
Like,
when
wage
in England was that's not what happened at all, Camel.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, imagine how many of these fuckers got absolutely destroyed by people.
So what happened? So in England, what happened was they were privatizing and doing land enclosures, forcing peasants off the land and moving them into the factories, moving them into cities. So they started using factories for the peasant labor.
Yeah. But even before that, I mean, they still had laws like a year and a day. You know, if you spend a year and a day within the city limits, you're like a free man instead of being like a fucking peasant or a serf or whatever. You know, and that was one way to attract people.
But they're basically so pretty much what happened in England was so they started doing land enclosures, and they figured out ways how to grow wheat more effectively by mixing the crops together, because different crops take different nutrients and replace different nutrients in the soil. So they got higher harvest yields, and they needed less serfs, so they started kicking them out.
Based. Just destroying the fucking traditional life. Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you get capitalism. And then, so when they entered the places when first got capitalism, their life expectancy dropped dramatically. People were like only living to their 30s. Like, holy shit, people were dying like crazy.
Yeah, it's because people were
okay.
cheap.
Then you have the Marxist tradition, where you usually So Marxists want to use the state. Okay, so anarchists want to abolish the state immediately. And the Marxists want to use the state to achieve communism and change society from socialism to the lower stage of communism to the higher stage of communism. And that's the great divide between Marxists and anarchists. Anarchists see Marxism as an authoritarian version of socialism, and then the Marxists see anarchists as utopians who pretty much fail at everything.
Yeah.
So my issues with like the Marxist form of socialism is it tends to lead itself to more authoritarian, because you have the Marxist tradition with like Leninism. There's a whole vanguard party who more or less rule the country until they feel like everyone's ready for socialism and communism. Yeah, the Marxists want to use the state to achieve communism.
Yeah,
and then the anarchists say you can't. You have to. The means have to justify the ends or whatever.
Yeah. So you could literally justify never ceding power to the workers or whatever by
because you're
saying,
like too reactionary and
ready.
stupid.
Yeah, you're not ready, man. You're not ready for socialism. This shit would blow your fucking deck off. All right, you're not ready for this shit yet for like the next 400 years. And then and then everyone wonders, why the fuck did they want capitalism? They really didn't want capitalism, but
Yeah, they just wanted actual socialism.
Yeah, they wanted the good shit, which, they deserve. And they still do deserve it. Now, I'm not going to say they're not real socialists, the Marxists, the Marxist-Leninists. I'm not going to say that you're not real socialists. It's just more of,
the anarchists call them red fash.
Yeah, that's fucking
It is, because fascism is a right-wing ideology, where it's ideologically opposed to Marxism, socialism, and communism.
Yeah. I've heard a fascist tell me that, technically speaking, fascist economics is basically so you take Marxism, right? And then you go, okay, but what if you just did class collaboration instead?
Fascist economics is just regular capitalism. They just call it corporatism because they're like, oh, the state controls the corporations, but that's not even the case. The state doesn't control the corporations at all. The corporations control the state. And then there's still a lot of private. So they pretty much privatize everything that was nationalized before in Nazi Germany. Then in Italy, their corporatist thing, they had syndicates and corporations working with they banned all unions and shit.
Yeah, pretty much. They missed the fucking point.
Yeah, so pretty much their whole thing is we're gonna get rid of classes. We're gonna ignore the class divide, and everyone's one race. But it's just capitalism with extra steps. Well, not even extra steps, the same steps. Because you can have government-owned businesses in capitalism. That doesn't change anything. And like, there's a lot of classical, like literally in liberal democracy, the capitalist class are the ones who run the government. So there's literally no difference whatsoever. You just have a fascist dictator who stabilizes the failing capitalist economics by destroying the workers' unions, killing socialist communists and any of the rabble until
quote
they
unquote, quote unquote stabilizing.
Well, yeah, because like during the Great Depression, all the corporations in like Nazi Germany and Italy were doing great at profit wise, but everyone's lives was fucking horrible. Everyone got like poorer, but the corporations and the wealthy.
What a strange
So, yeah.
coinky dink.
Yeah, that's what happens. I don't even know why we're talking about them, but either way, so pretty much you have the issue with Marxism where too much money is ceded to the central authority, which you can't really trust at all. And then anarchism, it has a lot of blind faith in people. And then, yeah, maybe someday someone will figure out some sort of ideology that
Bookchin.
Synthesizes the two. Bookchin?
Bookchin.
Wait, you guys should...
Bookchin.
You want to talk about communalism, the
No.
centrist version, your centrist ideology?
My centrist fucking Marxism communalism.
Yes, you're a
boy.
centrist.
I don't know. I've been on a bit of a journey recently, and so I googled Bookchin many moons ago, and it fucking awoke my brain up. And then I started hearing people talk about like, oh well, anarchists are kind of cringe. Just the issues you basically just raised with them, except they're being assholes about it. Instead of just saying, yeah, they've got a lot of blind faith in people. Because yeah, I know people are pretty shit, but there's a few things you can basically bet on. Like, people are usually going to try to follow their own interests, usually, as long as they know what their
I
interests
think
are.
that's true at all.
Do what?
I don't think that's true at all. People usually
Really?
do whatever they think is best for the... So humans evolved to be a social species, and they'll do anything to fit in. So they'll do stuff that's best for the group, even if it harms themselves. What they think is best for their group. Why do you think there's white supremacists who will actually ruin their lives because they think to spite black people because they think it's in their group's interests?
Good point. Why the fuck? What the hell is this? Oh, that was a spider web in my fucking laser? What? Sorry, I'm messing around with my laser. Yeah, I guess you're right. But even then, I guess my point still stands that, like, you can... Look,
Basically, you
God
have
damn
to... one of the criticisms, too, in The Conquest of Bread that Botkin talks about is, what about the people who are going to be lazy? And you'd be like, we'll just kick them out or whatever. That sounds kind of like violence, Camel.
yeah. When really, what you should be aiming for is to just, you've got to take care of them somehow. You got to make sure they can get what they want. So you just offer them a job and you offer to pay them.
Then that's not communism anymore.
Okay, but under communism, you don't need a job. You do like an hour of work a week, like socially necessary work, maybe 2 hours. Basically that would just be the equivalent. Yeah, you would basically be making sure that the robots are doing everything.
Volunteer time?
Okay. Yeah, it's just volunteer time. You do your volunteer time because that's the right thing to do, or because I don't know.
State mandated
it's
volunteer
your turn.
time.
Yeah. Or it's just like it's your turn. There's nothing that says that people can't just
But yeah,
organize
communalism
themselves.
seeks to synthesize the two.
In a way. Communalism apparently, I wouldn't know because I'm not that woke on dialectics. Bookchin used dialectical reasoning a lot, in order to like arrive at some of his points. And yeah, so except it's more oriented towards like realizing our dependence on nature. Because under capitalism, it's basically hidden from us because we live in these big concrete jungles called cities. And we don't realize that, or we often don't realize that actually, no, that hurricane that just came in, that could fuck everything up in like 20 years and no one could even realize it, you know, or some shit like that.
All right. Do you want to shout out anything? The camel?
What?
Do you want to shout out anything?
So, yeah, read Bookchin and read
The Ecology of
Paul
Freedom.
Cockshot's. Yeah, read The Ecology of Freedom. Also read Paul Cockshot's Towards a New Socialism. That's what I'm reading.
Towards a New Socialism. Yeah.
And
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
comment, subscribe, follow us on Patreon, and yada yada yada. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Love you. Bye.